right, everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Nasty Labs podcast, part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. We're a podcast from game studio Chicory Labs, where we talk about games, game dev, Japan, and whatever else comes up. So open yourself up at Chicory and let's go.
Hell yeah. Kinsey, how the hell are you?
I am doing fantastic, because it's not the surface of the sun anymore in Seattle.
Yay. And how was, you just had July 4th. How was it?
Mm-hmm. It was loud.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got a pretty damn good podcast. I don't want to beat around the bush too much. We have a guest with us today. Things are going to get pretty exciting. How are we going to intro this dude over here?
Well, I was hoping you'd just spend 10 minutes talking between yourselves.
Yeah.
Just sit here and everyone would be like, who is that guy?
That was the original plan.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'm happy to listen.
Okay. So anyway, Kinsey, July 4th, what did you do? No, we're going with that.
All right. My fault.
Most of the fun fireworks stuff that I normally go to was all canceled due to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my parents' house and ate a lot of steak.
Nice.
Drank a lot of beer.
Also
and
nice.
then starting at probably about 7 p.m., the war started. Or they're not even fireworks. They're just like bombs.
Like neighborhood kids setting stuff off?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I'm pretty sure it's like neighborhood, like 40-year-olds, but yeah.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. Did you guys set off any bombs?
No. So I was gonna buy fireworks, and I went to the fireworks stand on the way there, and I felt like the lamest kid. I walked in, and all they have is the big expensive blow up huge fireworks, and since I wasn't gonna be at my parents' house late, I was looking for the daytime ones, the parachutes, all the lame fireworks, and the cannons that roll on the ground.
Oh my god!
I was looking for all of those things, and I did a once around, and I just left it. I was like, nope, this is not for me anymore. Apparently,
bottle rockets for days. That's all you need, so you can start a bottle rocket war. That's all July 4th is about. Nothing else.
Those are illegal, though. You have to go to the special places to get bottle rockets.
I don't even know what a bottle rocket is.
You shoot it at your friend and it blows up.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Why not? It's great because the timing always works out for me.
Yeah, it's dangerous. And
but also
cool.
I'm scrolling Twitter and there are all these fireworks going off and it's dead on when I turn 31.
So introducing our guest. So today on Chicory Labs' Nasty Labs, we've got our second guest of the show. Third guest, wow. Who knows? He is a special guest. With us today is...
myself, Liam Edwards.
Liam Edwards just joined our studio.
I did.
We are extremely excited to have him on board. Yay. Woo,
thank you.
We're extremely excited. He's going to be designing. He's going to be directing. He's going to be working on all sorts of things. He's got a secret project that we can't talk about.
Not yet.
But we will be able to soon. So follow us on Twitter, all that other shit. See what's happening. Because, Liam, when do we think we're going to announce this secret? Just lie.
Lie?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we're announcing tomorrow.
I wish it was tomorrow. No, sometime soon, I imagine.
Alright, so our first segment, of course, is What Up? And that is what we're playing. And you know what? I'm going to say guests go first.
Guests go first.
Oh, wow. Thank you. What have I been playing? I've been doing that thing called Life, where you don't get to play very much because you're too busy making video games and stuff all the time. But recently, I've been playing... I could go back a bit because there's, another...
What are you playing?
I've recently been playing Mario Golf because that
Nice.
just came out. Some might know I have some association with golf due to certain things.
Right.
So I've been playing that, and that has been kind of disappointing, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you've been tweeting about it quite a bit. It's just not polished enough.
Yeah,
or...
it's a little all over the place. It doesn't have that quite Nintendo magic, let's say. That typical sheen. And I think there's probably a number of reasons as to why that is the case. Camelot is the studio who develop it, so they are kind of like a Nintendo second party studio. So you've got Nintendo giving you whatever demands you have to make those games, but then also they've had to transition to work from home and stuff like that during that period of time, and you can sort of see that last year of development probably didn't go as smoothly as they imagined. It's not that it's a bad game, but it has some pretty janky bits all over the place. But the main one that is the most frustrating is this speed golf. That is this brand new feature for the game. In concept, it's a great idea, right? Like a Mario Kart style race to your golf ball, and then you can knock your opponents out of the way, and then you'd hit your ball, and everyone's, it's like Happy Gilmore with the game, right? You're running and you're smashing things. So on paper and on theory, it's a good idea. I almost said Mario then. Yeah. So can you sort of guess what the idea of speed golf is? What would be the problem if you have four players who have to sort of interact with each other, smash each other, get in each other's way? What is the problem with doing that on a golf course?
Kinsey, you go, because I've heard
he already
him talk
knows the
about
answer.
This,
Yeah.
Well, I've played speed golf, but
Oh.
Okay, so what's the problem?
What do you think my problem is?
I don't know. I feel like, the characters are different speeds, starting with.
That's okay.
And I found that a little bit annoying at first, only because, the very first time I start playing it, I was Toad.
Okay,
and then little Toad's running, and then my friend just runs past me.
He's
and
adorable,
I'm like,
but he's slow and chunky.
He's very slow. He's cute though.
He's got an ass on him, so it takes a while. But the problem, I feel like the problem for me is golf courses are really wide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when on earth does anyone ever bump into each other? It's not like a Mario Kart track where it's a defined width that you have to sort of interact with other people. You literally have just everybody tees off, and then four people just go whoop, and they split into different areas, and then you never get these moments where you're trying to stop other people from getting to that ball because there's no reason to do so.
Are you ever funneled into the same area?
No.
Okay.
Not really. Not to the point where it's it's actually going to happen.
Combat.
Yeah, no, of course not. It's a golf course, right? So it's really wide, so people just run to that ball. And then what it becomes is just a game of golf. So you hit your shot and then you run to the ball. And as Kinsey mentioned, right, there's a stamina meter and you have to run to the ball. And the stamina meter is just frustrating, right? It's like the Breath of the Wild climbing that annoys everybody, right? It's kind of unnecessary. In Breath of the Wild, it obviously works as kind of a stopgap to stop you from exploring everything immediately. But in speed golf, all it does is make you slower to get to your golf ball, which is what you want to do. You want to hit the golf ball. So, well, in theory, I understand. And I think what you can sort of do as a little exercise is look at the trailers of Mario Golf and look at the speed golf. And you will always see in the trailer, because I went back and I had a little sneaky look, you'll always see all of the characters running in a line. They're never spread out. They're always in a line. And it's in the middle of this golf course, this single file conga line, Mario's just started a party with all his friends. And it's kind of tricking you into thinking that this kind of is a bit more chaotic and a bit more hectic than it actually is. So while speed golf is the main new thing, that's problematic because then the rest of the game falls apart and is just golf, right? Mm-hmm. And the golf mechanics are fine. I actually think they're probably...
So the core game is fine.
The core game is fine. It's golf, right? It's just golf. I think the courses are fine.
So I wanted to ask about the courses because I know nothing about the game. Are there stages that are very Mario themed?
No.
Okay. It's just
there's a Bowser one. Yeah,
okay.
There's a Bowser one. But even that, and that's weird because that one looks real rough, visually real rough. It's the textures on that one are quite, and it's hard for me to criticize Nintendo games. I think
right,
right. But it is kind of rough, and it's kind of you can see sort of where it's picked apart. And the problem is this big new feature, this speed golf idea, right, is meant to be the thing to buy you into it, and then the rest of it can sort of just be of service to golf. But once you are very bored of speed golf very quickly, I find then all you're doing is playing golf, and there are better golf games, if I'm entirely honest. So it's a bit disappointing. I don't know.
Are there themed stages that are anything to do with, I don't know, Yoshi or anything to do with...
Not really. There is an adventure mode, so they're bringing back the old RPG style of the original Mario Golf games, but it's so slow and so dragged out, and it has this absolutely I don't know if you've reached it, Kinsey, But the
I
cross...
haven't even tried it.
Oh, yeah, don't even bother. So they have this thing called cross-country golf, right? They call it XC golf, right? And it's this excuse that the golf course gets broken up by a storm, so it's all over the place, which means they make up holes via the course randomly. So you might tee off on hole 1, but the actual flag is on hole 3, right? So then you have to traverse between those periods. Now, the problem is they have, like, the first place you do it is, like, they have these tornadoes, and you think, oh, I'll hit my ball into these tornadoes, and it'll take me to the place.
Seems
but
like
no, it's actually just physics, and you hit it, and it goes up, and then sometimes you might make it onto the mountain, or you won't.
Oh.
So you are just hitting your ball, like, randomly all over the place, hoping that you land somewhere you can hit it up these giant, like, cliff faces, and it's a mess. There's no structure to it whatsoever. It's a little frustrating. I feel quite bad because I've just come on here. We're all happy here, and I'm just being massively negative. So before, like, I just want to say before you guys tell me what you've been doing, like, to switch it to a positive. Yeah. The other thing I've been playing mostly is Guilty Gear Strive. Now, you'll have no idea what that is.
No clue.
Because you have no idea. Well, it's a fighting game.
Oh, should have been on the last podcast. We had questions about Guilty Gear Strive.
There you go. See,
and we were like,
There are people like me out there.
Does it rock?
Can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
It fucking rocks. It rocks so hard. It's so great. It's a fighting game, Japanese fighting game, of course, but Guilty Gear has become more and more popular over the years, I think, with Exert and Revelator, which were the previous games. So Strive has become quite bonkers popular, actually. There's a lot of people playing it right now. But it is beautiful. It is great, and it plays like a dream, and I think I've played like 60 hours of it already, which for me is like a
fighting game with just babes.
No.
Okay.
Like cool characters. Like the main character of the game. Like everybody who's cool knows this, but of course
I don't.
The main character's name, I think you'll appreciate this. Soul Bad Guy.
Okay, that's a good name.
I know, right?
Soul Bad Guy.
Soul Bad Guy, right?
Okay.
And when you start a fight, it goes heaven or hell. Let's rock.
Oh, okay. Okay,
See?
that sounds pretty slick.
So cool. It's really stylish. It's a beautiful looking game. If you see the animation, it's like a 2D fighting game with 3D models. So they have this fixed plane camera like you would in Street Fighter and stuff like that. But the models are like 3D cell shading. It's absolutely gorgeous to watch. And in motion, it's like watching like a really cool anime fight scene. But it plays amazingly well. It's sort of bringing my love back of fighting games that I had when I was in university playing a lot of Street Fighter 4 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I busted out my old arcade stick, my fight stick.
What console is this for?
I'm playing it on PC, but you can play it on PS4 and PS5.
Okay, cool.
As well. But man, I'm really enjoying that game. It's like a lot. That is what I've been playing most.
Would you say it's better than golf?
I would say it like destroys, it perfect KOs Mario Golf into the sun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's Soul Bad Guy has whatever it's called, Vortex Vipered it into space.
Soul Bad Guy.
Soul Bad Guy.
Give us a couple more lines that they say.
Shall I just give you character names?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so Soul Bad Guy.
Okay.
Axel Lowe.
Oh, all right. Keep them coming.
So one of the characters you'd really like, but I can't visually show you.
Okay.
Actually, I can because I have a phone, so we can get your live reaction.
Okay.
So this is
describing it.
So this is a character called Eno, right?
Eno.
Now, Eno, the name won't really tell you.
E-N-O.
E-N-O. E like dash no. Like, and then
Got
you
it.
just say Eno.
Eno.
Eno, right?
It's a music composer.
Yeah, so.
Of course
that's
is.
Eno.
Okay, I got it.
So
so we'll put this on the screen. That is definitely artist formerly known as Prince, kind of little logo on there.
Yeah. That's what she looks like in Strive now. Like, I think, whatever the camera may be.
Oh, she looks sweet.
She's badass. So she is literally a time-traveling embodiment of humanity that fights with a guitar.
Right. And what you don't know is probably named after Brian Eno. Okay.
Yeah. So we got Axel Lowe, Soul Bad Guy, Eno. We got a giant military man called Potemkin, named after, I guess, the battleship.
Okay.
Who else have we got? We've got this giant black samurai who I guess is based off of Yasuke, right? But his name is Nagariyuki.
Oh, that's cute.
That's great, right? And he's from Nigeria.
And he's a samurai.
And he literally has like he's a vampire as well.
Of course, a vampiric samurai from Nigeria.
which is a shame because the actual vampire character I like in Guilty Gear is not in this version of the game, but he's called Slayer.
Okay.
Yep.
And that is not a good game.
That is a good game. It's just not this one, right?
Okay.
He's not in this one. There's a whole cast of motley crew of brilliant characters.
Are you playing online with
Yeah, I'm playing a lot online. I'm pretty bad at it. I managed to, for anybody who knows Guilty Gear, I got to the 9th floor, which is, there's 10 floors.
Exciting.
And then you go to the heavens and the celestials. And I got to the 9th, and then I got well and truly beat. So.
Is it at the arcades as well?
Not at the moment, no. No.
Do you see yourself becoming competitive?
I was the only games I've ever really been competitive in are fighting games. I used to watch and still do like a lot of Evo and stuff like that. But I rage a lot.
You rage
fighting.
quit?
Yeah, no, not rage quit, but I definitely can be a little abusive towards friends. And telling them they're cheap.
I've definitely played games with you, and anytime you win, you are a a
grand winner.
Yeah, yeah. Some people say a sore winner, and then when you lose, it's everyone else's fault, and it's that.
Yeah. So it's not like a rage quit, but it's definitely rage at others.
I'm better than everyone. This is unfair. This game is broken.
Yeah, that, which I know it's not because I'm a game developer, right? But, any excuse to not blame myself. So it's a bit dangerous because I actually do feel I'm pretty good at this version of Guilty Gear. I've not been good at other versions of Guilty Gear because they are very complicated. And one of the things that they've done with Strive is they've balanced the complexity of a game like Guilty Gear versus the ability to get lots of new people into it because it's a lot more simple, and they have you can do really sweet combos pretty easily and stuff like that. So it's very enticing for new players to come along and play it. So I have a pretty good understanding of fighting games, haven't played them for a long time, so I can get to a pretty decent level quickly because of the introductionary ways that game gets new players in. 60 hours speaks for itself. I haven't played 60 hours of a game for years. I don't have that kind of time.
Where do you have 60 hours anyway?
I've literally just spent like 3 hours every night, like from like 11 p.m. until like 2 a.m. just bashing away on an arcade stick. Don't look at me like that. That choice of words. Playing. And the people I've been playing with are like people from a Discord community,
right.
And they're mostly European, so for them it's a good time. So I can catch them and we can play And the online netcode as well is really good. So sorry to digress about a game you both have no idea about, but I wanted to be more positive.
Let me ask you, Guilty Gear, does it rock?
It rocks.
Okay.
Heaven or hell, let's rock.
Because that was the question last week, and we finally were able to answer.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It super rocks. It really does rock. It's like Rockstar, the video game.
Kinsey, what are you playing?
Well, I am playing Mario Golf. I'll just say a few things since we've already
my sympathies
covered Mario Golf. But Speed Golf, I only tried it once. I didn't really care, even though that was weirdly the mode I was most excited for.
Yeah.
But I've just been trying to unlock all the courses. That takes forever because golf. Yeah. But the only thing I was really disappointed about unlocking courses was like, you kind of touched on it with the tornado, but a lot of the environmental stuff, it didn't react like either the way I wanted to or at all. Like in the level that looks like it's up in the mountains where it has all those clouds that blow like horizontally back and forth. Like I feel like I never ever ever got stuck in their wind. Like I went through the wind animation. But it didn't blow my ball off course. And I was like, well, isn't that good? That's why it's there.
Yeah, it's like those rock and roller things that are like rolling along the course. And you're like, oh, no, don't hit it. And then when they hit it, it just bounces you a few feet forward. And you're like, oh, thanks, guy. It's like, it doesn't feel like a hazard whatsoever. It feels like no danger.
Although one of those rock rolly guys, I was shooting my ball. Shooting it. I obviously play a lot of golf. I was all teed up and golfing. And I was about to hit my shot. And then I got rolled over. And I lost a bunch of coins. And I was like, what do I do with these coins?
Yeah.
I have coins?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't take any punishment for the actual golf part, but the coins are affected. I don't need coins.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna...
Coins? What kind of game is this?
It's Mario. It's Mario.
Mario.
Mario and coins, man.
What else are you playing, Kinsey?
So I also just started playing Chicory.
Okay.
And
Nice.
that's a beautiful game. I actually got to play it last year at Bit Summit. I got to play the demo when I was doing the Bit Summit streaming. And it is a Finji game, which I normally like all their games, so already. Same person, Lena Raine, did the music for Celeste. So it's got a great soundtrack. But the game is mostly about, like, all the color gets sucked from the world, because there's typically, like, person in charge is a big paintbrush, and they, like, are the wielder of the brush. But all the color went away, and you're the janitor who got the brush, which is sweet, and putting the color back and trying to figure out why the color disappeared. But for the most part, you do a lot of painting, because the whole world is black and white. And you don't really have to paint the world. Like, you could just walk through it. Because it's like the, like, top-down, like, Link to the Past view. So, like, you don't have to color it in.
Yeah.
So
but it's pretty
you could
fun.
beat the game without coloring it in? Does the color do a thing?
It does. I had to beat a boss by coloring it in.
Yeah.
But-
There are, like, I've been playing it as well, actually, and there are, there's, like, you know, unlike Mario Golf, there are actually hazards that you interact with the paintbrush. Like, you'll draw on certain plants and they'll grow, and...
Do you get to pick what color? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of
Yeah.
determines puzzles, sort of?
Not that I know of
No.
so far, not, like, the color itself, but, you know, it has a load of neat features, like you can change the size of the brush and
Oh, cool.
that kind of thing, too.
Yeah, so there's the, like, plants that you can, like, paint or erase the paint, and that'll determine what it's doing. So you can, like, you know, get across cavern, like, or whatever, usually used as, like, platforms to get around. And I've been really liking it. And I keep going back and forth between a controller and the mouse. Because on the controller, you use the right stick to control the brush, which is very difficult.
Right.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Okami. Like, that was sort of the same style Okami used back in the day.
Yeah.
I didn't even think to use the mouse, because I'm playing on PC as well, and I just picked up a controller immediately and started playing it, because it was like a Zelda style. Not really Zelda, but yeah, it's like a Link to the Past, you know, screens that you go between. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't find so much with the right. You can't obviously be precise like you could with a mouse,
No.
but it's not really a game that requires you to be precise. Like, you can just
No,
spam
but
your
if
little
I'm
paintbrush.
trying to, like, you know, draw a star,
Yeah.
I'd like it to look like a star. But I'm also left-handed, so I don't know if that has something to do with it as well.
Yeah, that won't help.
But I found I'll be playing at my desk, and then I can just be like, oh, I'm going to draw something, mouse time.
Okay.
And I did that for the boss, too. It made it so much easier to beat the boss.
The
So
brush
I've been
does
having
feel,
a really good time.
Yeah, the brush does feel a little slow sometimes on the old, you know, cursor. Like, it does feel like, you know, there's menus in games that people have started doing now, Destiny, No Man's Sky, where you have, like, a cursor instead of, like, swapping between the things.
Sometimes the cursor's so slow.
It's so slow, yeah. Like, it feels really slow. And sometimes the brush does feel like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that must be something they battled with for a long time. Because, I mean, I feel like there's no game that's done that well.
There's probably a setting in there somewhere, because I know I was reading a tweet thread about it where they had a couple of different settings for, like, you know, accessibility and stuff. And one of them was actually to turn the sound of the brush off, because it is kind of like a, yeah. So, and some people might have been, you know, triggered by that sound, that, like, it's kind of like a squelch and stuff like that.
Right.
So you actually can turn that off. So there's quite an
There's a word for that, where it's like you don't like basically like mouth sounds.
So the sound I just
Because
made.
it sounds very similar. Yeah. To that. There's like now I don't remember
Like
what it's
a
called,
phobia?
but there's like a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, kind
yeah.
of like a phobia.
So they do
with
have
that.
the ability to turn that off. So there probably is a setting somewhere, but yeah, it's Greg Lebanoff. We met him at PAX West, and he made Wonderson, which is also a really great game. So I'm happy to see a really interesting team create a new indie game.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And I love it when in like a very wholesome game, I can like make it less wholesome. Like I got to design
Go
a
on.
donut.
A what?
And I designed a donut for a donut shop.
Okay.
Or as they call it, a holy.
Okay.
Holy.
And?
A holy.
You made it
And-
unholy.
Yeah.
Well, at first I just made it like a nice like peach color and put sprinkles all over it. And then I was like, this donut's boring. So I put a pentagram on it and it's like black. So it's like a nice like sprinkle donut and then a big black pentagram. And it looks awesome. And then I realized after I was like, here you go. And of course they're like, this looks great. Thanks. You know, they put it on the outside of their shop now.
That's cool.
It's huge. There's a huge pentagram on the outside of their shop.
I like that you can break the game a little bit. What you don't know about Kinsey is the first time I shared my screen with her, she drew like as many horrible things
Nice.
on my screen as possible.
Yeah,
The very first time.
Yep, well done. I can appreciate that. Also, I'd like to eat a pentagram donut.
That'd be cool.
I think that'd be that great.
I'd buy it. There's
Also,
a place in Portland that has them sometimes.
Although I'm trying to think, like a donut with a hole in the middle. How do you draw a pentagram on that?
Carefully?
Do you draw?
Yeah,
do you
you
draw
just-
like lots
you
of
just
small
go to-
ones around the ring, or?
I did one big one, and just if I got to the hole, I started the line again on the other side.
Ah, okay. I guess it depends
That's
on
what I
how
did.
big the hole is.
It's a holy.
And now it's unholy.
That's pretty good. So what's your final takeaway on Chicory?
I'm really liking it. I'm going to keep playing it. I just got to the second town, and really enjoying it.
And
I'm going to do a bunch of painting, playing a game in an all-new way, holding my controller with then using my mouse. Like,
I gotta
True
ask.
artist.
I don't know anything about the game. I mean, I've seen the trailer, and obviously it looks amazing. I'm assuming there's no coffee shops in the game, and you drink chicory instead of coffee. Is that what the game's about? Do you guys even know what chicory is? Of course you don't. Okay,
well,
it's
all
a coffee replacement. It's like terrible.
if it helps, all the characters are food names. So that's pretty sweet.
The main character is called Chicory.
Okay, and is it?
Well, if all the characters name
Yeah.
after food, then possibly it's a coffee replacement name. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get to name your character, and it's in the very beginning of the game, and I think it's really cute. You push new game, first thing that pops up is what's your favorite food? But it never tells you like why it asks you that, and it's
Yeah.
because it's your
name.
character's name.
So I wrote pizza, and everyone was calling me pizza.
Oh, that's cute. That's a really cute way.
I
to-
almost wrote yakiniku, and then that would have been weird. Hello, yakiniku. How are you doing?
That would have been tight.
That would have been pretty tight.
I almost wrote takoyaki, and I didn't for that reason, because since I played the demo, I already knew about that.
Ah, there you go.
So,
what did you write?
My character's name is Cheese, and when I played the demo, it was Burrito.
Nice.
I mean,
Both cute names.
cheese is pretty cute. I would want to be called Cheese. Yo, where cheese at?
Yeah.
What about cheese? What about cheese burrito?
Ooh.
Hello.
I just named my character Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
Taco Bell item number 6.
Hungover doner kebab.
Well, you guys.
So, Mark, what are you playing?
Oh man, you guys.
Does it involve food?
It doesn't. Well, no,
Ah.
it doesn't. I'm playing the Legend of Mana remake on the
Yes.
Nintendo Switch. I played the original back when it came out. It was one of my favorite games. And it's part of the Mana series.
Man.
I gotta say, so it's a long game, and it's very free form. You can kind of explore this world in a way that you you want, more or less. I don't know how aware you guys are of the Mana series. But,
I know. I've watched people play it, and I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I do know it's pretty like you just go wherever you want, right?
You go wherever you want. I mean, basically, so another one of our coworkers, Zach Aikman, he's also playing the game, and we'll talk about where we're at, and we're in completely different places, and he can't even go where I can go yet. It's really, really open world in that sense. But it also adds a couple of new features that are absolutely fantastic that all new RPGs need to offer. You can turn off random battles. Just turn them off. And as a 35-year-old, I am absolutely in love with this because like it's great. I love grinding like the next guy, but at some point I don't want to fight some of these like 2-minute battles that just take that are over and over and over. But there's it's also a great game for kind of people on the go, more or less, because a lot of the missions in it they can last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then which I think also modern games really need to go back to, because ultimately I don't have a lot of time. I want to play a game at my speed, and this kind of offers that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend it though. I don't know.
So even though you've said it helps with, that short burst of time and you get to turn certain things off. That's why I really liked Bravely Default back in the day.
Right.
It was like one of the first games you could turn off random battles or at least like adjust the percentage to suit you a bit better. But that kind of like aimless wandering that maybe that game has, does that not conflict with the nature of completing these missions and feel like you're making progress? Because I think one of the things
absolutely it does.
Oh yeah, so there you go.
Right. So like if you go onto a mission, you'll go to a stage. It's not like an open world game. You'll go to the stage. And you have to get to the end of the stage. And before, it always felt like, okay, these random battles, you can see them on the screen before you go to them.
Yeah, it's a mana game, right?
Yeah.
So you should be able to see.
Right.
So but you just walk into the enemies, yeah?
Yeah, you walk into the enemies, but that goes into battle mode. You can't avoid that in Legend of Mana. What they did was they just made it so you'd walk by the enemy. There would just be no battle.
That's great. It means the world doesn't look unpopulated. Right. It still looks pretty full.
But it also feels like by turning that off that nothing is impeding my progress. I could just run to the boss and finish mission and then walk away. But because it's a great in concept, but then when I get to the boss, maybe I'm not leveled up enough.
Well, whose fault is that?
I know it's not a perfect balance. But I also understand that it would be hard to balance that.
Well, you could always make unskippable battles. I'm sure it has this. They must have like unskippable enemies that are around that would then be like, the developer would know that you would have at least this minimum amount of experience before you reach a boss. Or can you skip literally every battle?
I think you can skip every battle except for bosses.
Well, that's different. Like if every screen had at least one enemy you had to kill, then you at least are getting experience on a curve. So then that's a lot more plannable. But it is kind of wandless and aimless. So maybe that wouldn't necessarily work in a game like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a time management thing on the player. When you don't have a lot of time, you turn off random battles, but you have to remember to turn them back on.
Yeah.
So you can actually level up.
Yeah. So, beyond it being an action RPG, it's kind of they use the spaghetti on the wall technique as well, because there's also like monster management. You can collect monsters.
The old Pokemon.
The old Pokemon element. Yes, absolutely. That's there. Then there's also, you can grow plants. Then you can also have armor made or whatever. Like basically, it's all things to all people, and because it's so many things, it kind of feels aimless.
Yeah, a hodgepodge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like too many good ideas that aren't executed well. Like it's not Pokemon. Don't be Pokemon. It's not this. Don't be that. Just stick to the core.
I think the PS1 original was like that was a complete response to Pokemon. It was like, oh, we know what's Pokemon.
It feels
popular
like
right now. Yeah.
They threw it in there. It definitely feels, because it's not part of the core game experience at all. You can just do it.
That's so random.
It's like a Coliseum, right? Like a battle.
Sort of.
Yeah.
You can like collect a monster egg, and then you could grow the monster up and level him up as though he's a secondary player. Which, in some ways, you don't have to do it at all. So that's kind of cool. But I don't like that there's so many of these additional elements.
Yeah, you feel like you have to try them all, otherwise you're missing something.
And because I'm trying all of them, I'm not actually playing the core game.
Yeah, you're not doing it. Yeah.
And I'm eventually going to burn myself out and
not play it anymore.
and not beat it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that. I love the game, but I'm going to do
it. Looks pretty.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, they've done a lot of good work.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Kinsey.
Does it have the core mana stuff, like when you go around to the different levels, like this is the level where you get Salamando, like all of the mana spirits?
Yes, sort of.
At least that. It's like very
actually,
core, man.
I'm trying to play the game without looking anything up, and
okay.
I don't know, to be honest. I do know that on the overworld screen, there's like a little percentage of likelihood that Salamando's there. I don't know what any of this shit means. I don't know what any of it means. And apparently, like where you place artifacts on the world map, and that gives you the stage you can go to. And apparently, where you place the artifact, depending on the percentage of Salamando or whatever, it will have different enemy loadouts.
Okay.
It's pretty convoluted. There's a
Sounds
lot
it.
of stuff under the hood that I don't understand, that I also don't care to learn. Yeah, I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just going to play the game as is.
Man, we had so much more patience when we were younger for these type of things.
Yeah, I don't anymore.
I wonder if adults at that time who were playing those games also had that kind of patience. There was no distractions when you were an adult back then like there is now.
I mean, there's no phones and the internet was shit.
So maybe you also had the patience as an adult back then.
I think you would have.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a bit of a shame. Social media.
Okay, but
podcasts.
Okay, but that said, it's a great looking game. The music is fucking phenomenal, and it's only $30. I don't know if that's a good thing. Seems like
I mean, it's half the price it was on release, I imagine, back in the day.
It's cheaper than buying it on what, PS1?
Yeah, probably.
How much is a retail copy of that going? Probably.
Kinsey would know.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, you probably know it like off the back of your hand over there.
I don't know. My prices are all outdated now. Like, they all crazy spiked during COVID. I've only recently started to look up my games, and I'm like, woo.
You're gonna be like that Pokemon collector who just like is now sitting on like 10 million worth of stuff and just don't even realize.
Yeah.
Great.
I almost want to play it, but
what, Pokemon?
No, the Legend of Mana. Just because it looks good. I'm like that idiot who's like, oh, look at the pixel.
I mean, yeah,
it looks so
does
great.
Look good. It does look good.
Yeah, it looks so great. I want to play it, but I won't.
All right, and our main topic this week is, of course, our guest of honor and new Chuhai employee, Liam Edwards.
Liam Edwards.
Oh, thank you. It's so weird when people say my full name.
Liam Edwards.
So weird to me.
It's like you're in trouble. Like,
I know, it's really weird. Like, I watched GDQ, and you guys know the speedrunning thing, right? And a friend of mine was doing a run for La Mulana yesterday, and I donated, and they were like, we have a donation from Liam Edwards. And I was like, God, it's so official. Everyone else uses like their internet name or something. Like, we got a donation from Lentz 07, I love guitars, and but it's like, we have a donation from Liam Edwards.
Liam, thanks for being on the podcast
Thank
again.
you for having me. Again.
We go back.
We do.
A long ways now at this point.
Yeah.
Why are we here today? Run us through the steps why you are here, and run us through where you started in games.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I mean, you literally started saying it. We go back a long time now, like 4-5 years almost. And for 3 of those, we worked at Q Games together.
Yep.
Here in Kyoto, creators of the Pixel Junk series, our homies over there. So I joined Q, and that was off the back of also knowing each other. So me joining Chuhai was kind of like a
sequel.
It was like a sequel. It was like something that probably was going to happen at some point anyway, or at least some sort of collaboration between us. Mm-hmm. Myself and Mark talk all the time about ideas and about games and about like plans, and it was just a matter of time. So I think like the easy answer is why am I here is because of you mostly. There are other reasons that I can't talk about because they're project related.
Sure. Okay, but hold on. You started in games at Rockstar.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So then, the how did I get here is 2-part, I guess. The second part being how I got into games. So actually, coming up to 10 years ago now, I started at Rockstar Games.
Mm-hmm. You're the lead level designer.
I wish. No, I started out in QA actually at Rockstar. Right. So when I was a wee boy, having finished university, I didn't really know what to do. I had actually been trying to get into like games journalism.
Right.
And I just finished working at GameSpot in the UK. So at the time, I don't know if they still do. They probably do. GameSpot had a branch called GameSpot UK, and it was like an office and had people in it. And that's where like Danny O'Dwyer started, right? Yeah. And when I was an intern and working there, Danny O'Dwyer was like teaching me how to edit videos and stuff. And, you know, Danny O'Dwyer obviously gone on to do NoClip and stuff. And then there was like Jane and Johnny who do like Outside Xbox, which is a part of like the Eurogamer Network and stuff like that. They're doing their own thing. So I was doing that and I was really enthusiastic about it, but I did it because I wanted to work in games, but I'd gone to university to do programming and I was abysmal at it.
Oh, neat.
So I was like, oh, well, that's my game career over. Maybe I'll have to do something with writing. Little did I know, I'm also really bad at that.
It's hard. It's really hard.
And at the time, it wasn't like, there were like YouTubers and stuff, but the world we know now in which you could have been a YouTube content creator or something.
Next to impossible.
Yeah, next to impossible didn't exist. There was people like, of course, Angry Video Game Nerd, but it was like Happy Console Gamer, right? Like Johnny, who I really enjoyed and really liked watching, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to talk about games. So like, games journalism was like the only thing. So I was doing like freelance stuff, and then I got an intern spot and some work at GameSpot, and then I did freelance stuff for IGN and Eurogamer. But then a friend was like, hey, you should come work at Rockstar. Like we're taking on QA positions for a brand new project, GTA 5. I interviewed, and it went really well, I think.
Well, you got the job.
Well, no, I didn't immediately.
Okay.
That's the thing, is I thought it went really well, and there was a guy inside vouching for me, right? That's half of the battle.
Yep.
They'd ask me, like, you know, typical QA questions, like, what's your attention to detail? And I was like, well, at the time, I play fighting games, and I, like, read up on the patch notes of, like, Street Fighter 4, and I'm, like, super into these things, all right? And 6 months went by, I didn't hear anything. I was like, this misery. I was so excited to get a job. So I got a job as a web designer because I had to get a job. And I literally packed up all my stuff to move down the country where I was living at the time, Wales, where I grew up, to Cardiff, the capital. And I started doing web design for a month. I was like, well, I might as well put my computer science degree to some good use. And within a month, they were like, oh, hey, we did keep your name on file. We still need new people. Are you interested? And I'd literally just like sign up for a 6-month rent.
Oh shit.
And everything. Oh. And I was like, fuck. But I can't not say no. So yeah, I was like, okay. I like explained to the landlord, like, I'm so sorry, but you know, this is like my dream job and all that kind of stuff.
And they bought it?
He was pretty kind actually. And he was like, just pay me for the 1 month and you know, we'll figure it out. If you can help like try and advertise getting someone.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is not like the US.
Yeah, the UK. I mean, the UK is also not that great, but he was a nice guy. He understood as well. So I then packed up all my stuff and moved all the way across the UK to the other side of the UK to a place called Lincoln. And started working at Rockstar. Yeah, the Lincoln studio, which is predominantly a QA and localization studio, but it was massive. You know, we had like 300 people and everything. And it grew and grew while I was there to like 400, 500 people because GTA 5 was a massive project. So I was there for a long time. I did a various amount of things, mostly with GTA Online. Also went up to Edinburgh multiple times on detachment to go, you know, see Rockstar North, which is the main GTA studio. And then I did GTA 5 for a long time. I also did like the ports for San Andreas and Vice City and GTA 3 for like Windows Phone, if you remember those things.
Yeah,
and like the iOS App Store, which this is like 2013. So that was early days for those. And they ran like shit. And it was like you had to complete GTA San Andreas in like 3 hours to make sure it worked and stuff like that. And I got talking to speedrunning, I could have done San Andreas easily back in the day.
I love that game.
On a Windows phone.
On a Windows phone, using my thumbs.
Oh, that sounds miserable.
It's like the ultimate like speedrunner like handicap. You're just like, no, this is how I'm gonna.
This is how I'm gonna do it. But it's so funny you say that because for me it was actually like a breath of fresh air because I'd been working on GTA 5.
Right.
And I was so sick of GTA 5 at that point. They were like, "Hey, will you play San Andreas? Will you fix these bugs and do these things on GTA 5 on GTA San Andreas on a Windows phone. Hell fucking yeah,
Right.
I will. Just give me anything. Nobody would sign up for like do you remember like the PlayStation Vita had like PS4 remote play and you would like stream it?
Mm-hmm.
No one would sign up for that because it was a real ball ache to set up. So I was like, I'll do it. This sounds interesting, right? And I was kind of putting myself in those situations all the time. And then before I think everybody sort of knows like crunch and stuff like that at Rockstar was a brutal thing. And I was kind of burning out a little bit, and I wanted to go do some different things. And also I was it's weird because that content creator thing that I'd always wanted to do, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, 8-4, like our friends at 8-4 and stuff. I was listening to those and I was like, I really want to do that. But Rockstar had super strict policies where you couldn't talk about games. You couldn't even, I remember posting on my Facebook, I just booked my holiday for October, can't wait. And they called me in the next morning to be like, don't say that. That sounds like GTA is coming out in September if you're going in holiday in October. And it was like that. And I just really didn't want to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. So the last thing I was doing is for the last year, I was kind of on and off Red Dead Redemption 2. That was like the last thing I was really doing. Actually, one of the first things I did was Max Payne 3, and that was a good time too, because I'd just come off the back of working at GameSpot, and I'd watched Danny O'Dwyer review it and make the review for it, and then like 6 months later, I was like playing the multiplayer testing for Max Payne 3 support and stuff like that. That was kind of weird. But anyway, I finished Rockstar in 2015. And I decided I was like, I will do it's one of those things where the grass is always greener, where you'll do anything else. At that point, I was like, I'll go work on a farm. I'll do anything. So I decided, I'll go teach English in Japan.
I mean, seems all right.
I mean, it would allow me the freedom to do like a podcast, which I wanted to do. It would also allow me to just do anything I wanted without fear of a sniper dot appearing on my head.
And
so then I wasted my time making games.
But you got to move to Japan.
I did. I moved to Japan.
Where did you go?
I went to Okayama.
Okayama
Near Hiroshima, between Hiroshima and Osaka. It's a fairly sizable city, but it's unknown by most. But I went to Okayama, and while I was there, I started podcasting, which helped make me meet people like Mark. But at the same time, I took like a year off of like making games and stuff, or like even just being associated with like the profession of games, let's say. But then I remember going to, I believe it was TGS, and I went to the 8-4 party and I met up with lots of people, and it was a good buddy of ours, James Montagna, who is at Way Forward, director on the Shantae series and Vitamin Connection, and even working on Advance Wars right now.
Yeah.
And he was like showing me all these prototypes on his phone, and he was like showing me all of this art and stuff. And I was seeing that the indie world, you could be like this, you could be as creative as you want. And he was making games for his job, but he was also making games at home. And
for fun.
For fun.
That's so weird.
For fun. Right? Like that's not how I'd experienced making games, if I'm honest.
Right.
The past couple of years, right? So I started tinkering around with GameMaker and, brushing off the old programming skills. And essentially I really enjoyed making GameMaker because it's so quick. The turnarounds on like getting things up and running and prototyping was easy and great. And scripting in GameMaker was fairly easy. So I just started making stuff. And then I made a really stupid but fun little endless runner inspired by Cannonball called Salaryman Suzuki-san, which when I look back on it, I'm like horrified I made that.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here, and I had just met you prior to that game coming out, and then you went online and you were like, hey, for $5 or maybe $10,
I'll put people in the game.
I'll put people in the game.
Yeah.
And I had only met you the one time at that point, and I was like, this game is so damn adorable. And I really like this kid. He like, all right, was it $10? I mean, whatever it was.
I can't remember what it was.
It was crazy cheap.
Yeah, also, it was helping me pay my bills at the time.
And for $5 or $10, he made like my character. I had great sideburns. And he nailed me perfectly.
This little box of it.
And the fact that he offered that, not only offered that, but accomplished it. Put everyone in the game. There's something really honest about that, and really like you did it for the love.
Yeah,
like
I enjoyed making that game a lot.
Yeah, I mean $5-10, that's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, to me at the time, it was everything because I don't know if anybody knows, but teaching English in Japan is not.
I mean, for the people that that's absolutely nothing.
Like,
and
the fact that
takes you 30 minutes, an hour to make it or something, right?
Well, yeah, like the fact that you or anybody was even interested was amazing to me. And it was kind of like what James had been saying about like, I just do it because it's fun, right? I would like teach English in the day. Thankfully that graduate it's a part-time because of podcasting and stuff, but I'd then go to like Starbucks at like 5 p.m. and I would stay there until 11 and I would just make the game, right?
Just max it out.
And I was absolutely loving the heck out of it. And James was entirely right. Like making games can be fun. Like when you are in the right situation and you have the right creative control and that kind of thing, and you're experimenting on your ideas, it was so much fun. And that was it. That was it. I was like, I'm back in. One more run, right? Like I'm back in.
Just when I thought I was out.
Yeah, just when I thought. They pull me back in. And I'm back in, and like that helps because the podcast stuff, at the time I was doing something called Final Games, and that kind of, in a smaller way, but kind of blew up, and it was winning awards and stuff, so I was interviewing like really popular game devs, and they were always like interested in what I was doing, and I kind of looked like a dweeby kid. I was like, I'm making this little endless runner. But after that, like, I kind of learned early one of the good habits that I think everybody should have, which is you need to finish games, right?
Right.
So you might have this grand scope, and I was going to make all these things with this endless runner. I was going to do all these different seasons. It was about like a salaryman who was running through Japan to catch a train, and I just called quits. I was just like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
I'm done. Right. I put the people in. I got like a summer and a spring stage, and like you just run. And I was like, I'm done. I'm going to move on to the next thing. And I think that was one of the things that really helped get to where I am now. Because then I could move on to the next thing.
Right.
And with that, it's the same as anything. It's like I learned so much from making Cyberman Zuxan. And I then expanded my knowledge about like using Game Maker and like the things I could do.
Right.
So then I started experimenting with a game idea I had after playing like Downwell and Castlevania and stuff. And I made another game that was like the inverse of that, where you're like flying up a tower. And that was even more fun, and that was getting a bit more serious, right? It was like a bit more, not professional, but it was like, maybe I could actually like either pitch this to publishers, or I could like at least make a demo that people play. And I did, and I also, same thing as Cyberman Zuxan, it gets to a point where you're like, I'm going to call quits.
Right.
And it was just like a couple of stages, and there was a boss fight. I'm really proud of that boss fight, actually.
It's a great game. What's it called again?
Flitzspire.
That's right. Right.
Yeah. It was just basically about flying up a tower as a vampire. You kill enemies, you get score, beat the time. It's a big monkey boss fight.
So let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, let's fast forward a bit. Yeah, sorry. So all of that aside, I met lots of people, and then I was offered a design role, or a game planner role, as we say, at Q Games. Before that, I was actually offered a job at Capcom, but I wasn't allowed to podcast and stuff, and it felt a bit like going back to Rockstar a little bit.
Yeah,
so I
had the possibility of maybe not loving it as much.
Yeah, exactly. I was super exciting, and I think the role at the time wasn't like designer or anything. It was like editor or something, and like it just didn't fit. But then I was offered game planner by our wonderful ex-boss and friend Dylan Cuthbert. He was like, "Hey, come and help us out with this new project," and I was like, "Absolutely, sure." Can I do these podcasts? He's like, yeah, I don't care. I was like, thank you. Great. So I got to move to Kyoto, which was one of the best things.
Right.
Kyoto's amazing. It's literally the best city on the planet.
It's great. It's
great.
All right.
Mark has different.
Not here to argue that. I love this place.
Yeah, you do. But you've been in a lot of good places. Yeah. Man who tours with his band.
Yeah. Continue.
So got to come to Q. I think fit in pretty quickly.
Immediately.
Yeah, and we were off and running, and I think that's when I truly got to just put to work all that experience I'd had. And then very quickly, I was in charge of a project. I was co-director of a game called Scrappers.
Right.
Very quickly had to win over a team of Japanese people, and did
successfully shipped a product that was an Apple Arcade
title, exclusive,
launch title.
No, it wasn't a launch
window.
It was a launch window. Yeah, exclusive for Apple Arcade. Made great friends. Had an amazing time making that game. and that was just so good.
He would take his team out every Friday to go drinking. Every Friday. I mean, and like, I'm not saying he's footing the bill, but like the spirit was right.
Yeah.
It was just like, yo, you're my team. Let's go out.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think that's one of the things we do here as well, right? Like, it's the same now with the team I have now. It's everybody is included. Everybody has to feel like they are. If their cog was missing in the machine would break. That's what I want everyone to feel. I want them to feel like they are as integral a part to the project as I am.
Well, not only should they want to feel like that, or they are that.
They are that. Yeah. Like, no matter whether they've done one thing in a month or they've done 1,000 things in a month, right? Like, everyone is integral. Because I can't do, the one thing I learned from making games by myself is I can't do things very well. I am not a good artist. I am not a good musician. I am not a good programmer. But I can have and work with great people who can do all of those things. And, you know, I'm so grateful for them, their skills, and them being able to do that. So that helped me foster a good team at Q, and I think that was noticed. And when I was at Q, I was offered more responsibility, and I was put in charge of a few different things, leading to me being offered to be like an associate creative director, which is a really high role there, which I was, you know, and after only 3 years, that was pretty incredible to be offered that. And yeah, but saying that, I missed a little bit of what my original start in all of this was, that conversation I had with James at TGS, which was the fun of everything, right? And it felt like after Scrappers, we were sort of going through the motions that I felt with Rockstar, you know, doing the DLC, getting the updates out, and all the stuff that's unavoidable with games like that. And I really just wanted to go back to what I was doing, which is prototyping and making ideas and stuff like that. And in a big studio, Q is a fairly sizable studio at this point, 60 plus people, right? It is a bit tough to get from genesis and experimentation to then actually like exploring those ideas to see if they're correct, right?
Right.
Whereas one person or a smaller team can like bust out.
You can know soon.
And you can then move on to the next thing. And, you know, going back to what I think one of my strong suits as a director and designer is knowing when to call quits on things,
right?
And knowing when something is good enough. So I went out on my own and I started doing prototypes and I started experimenting. As a game I made in lockdown last year that because I was bored, right? We had so much time last year. So while I was at Q, I made a game called Curse to Golf last year. Just a prototype of an idea, and I think that started a lot of other people noticing as well. Like, oh wow, like the ideas this person has is maybe worth exploring, which has led to some creative things going on. I think Mark has always been one of my biggest supporters, which is quite...
Thank you.
BFF.
Yeah.
Which is quite incredible. So I think, to reel it all back around is that faith that you had has led to being here now, because you're like, there is something you say all the time that really I appreciate, which is, you're my guy. Like that phrase alone instills the confidence to be like, well, I'm not going to let you down. And you're giving me the confidence that I can do what you're asking. Right. So I think it was a case of, we are doing a lot of exciting things over here. Right.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of things going on. Carve has just launched and all that kind of stuff. Right. So there's an opportunity for the size that we're at and the exciting things we're doing to be able to explore loads of exciting ideas and collaborate on incredible things with people all around the world. We have contractors in many different places and we get to work with some really incredibly talented people and stuff. So it just felt like a natural fit, right? We are in Kyoto making games and it's just awesome.
I'm going to go off on a tangent here.
Yeah.
At PAX, a long time ago, PAX West 2019, the last one or whatever. Liam was like, "Do you know Kinsey Burke?" Or no, we didn't meet you that weekend.
We saw you from a distance.
Yeah, we didn't meet you. But he put that in my ear and he's like, she's going places. She's got like the right attitude and all these sorts of things. This is absolutely true though. True, yeah. And then when Bit Summit came around, like I started messaging you like, "Hey, have you ever thought of coming over to like next time you come to visit Japan, why don't you come to Q Games? Next time this, blah, blah, blah. Have you thought about coming to Bit Summit?"
Yeah.
And it was you that put that little worm in my ear. Like, like Kinsey, like she's going places, and like in a roundabout way.
It's so weird, yeah, because we were at PAX West, and it was like, I think you were at the Devolver booth, and I knew Kelsey, who was of course part of the MGR crew, and also I'd done podcasts with, and I'd met and stuff like that. So it was I was like, oh, that's that's Kinsey who does stuff with MGR. She's doing game stuff now. Could be kind of useful to sort of get in contact with and see where she's going. And I remember you then came to Chu Hai, and you were off doing your things, and I wasn't as privy as I was before to the sort of the moving and shaking that you're always doing. I'm back in the inner circle. And I remember you were like, oh yeah, we're hiring somebody, and I was like, it's Kinsey, isn't it?
Yeah. He knew for sure.
I was like, man. Of course.
I mean, because
it worked out so well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
she's the
well.
shit.
You're so great.
When you get over here, you're gonna see what this team is capable of.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
I can't
you're
wait.
Gonna be fucking unstoppable.
Yeah, not to toot our own horn, but it is like that weird thing where I think we're like, just every time we do something, it's like,
a little better, a little.
We get better, and we're learning every time,
and you'll be part of that with us.
Yeah, there's a fire that fuels us all.
I mean, she's got it. That's the thing too. That's why it's like such a get. Like you've got just as much. I mean, that sounds like we're like tooting our own horn so much.
No, but
I was like, no, tell me more.
I think it's really true though. Like myself and Mark, I think the reason why we work so well is just because we both like.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, like working with Kinsey too, like every day I'll get this email. She's like, hey, I found this thing. I'm like, what are you chasing up all the time? You're always working on something. And like, that's the kind of people that I absolutely admire. And that I want to be myself. I want to be surrounded by these like active fighters,
Like I think the most common phrase between me and Mark is, have you thought of?
Yeah. Have you thought of? And it'll be either some bullshit, like long-winded idea, or it'll be like something that's like, all right, let's get them on the horn.
Yeah, let's get them immediately. And kind of always do deliver on that, don't we?
I mean, almost always, yeah.
Kinsey is like literally living proof.
Yeah.
So it is a great full circle that we're here now. Yeah, we've announced it now, so it's out like on Twitter and stuff, and it's been getting a lot of positive response, which is really exciting. I think, I've known everybody who is here for a long time, right? But the fact that now I get to work with everybody, Mr. Aikman and everybody as well, and Giles, and really be here and just be like collaborating together is really exciting, really fun.
Hell yeah!
I mean, we have a project,
officially,
right?
Officially, legally the best. Welcome to Chu Hai Lab.
Thank you,
Kinsey.
Kinsey.
Shit!
Thank you.
That's it. That's the official notice.
That's great. Do I get to call myself legally the best designer in Kyoto? Nice.
Do it. Fuck it.
I was donned.
Video Deathloop is a podcast where we watch a short video clip on loop until we just can't take it anymore. Along the way, we'll try our best to make each other laugh and to hold out longer than the other guy. You can jump in on any episode, no need to worry about continuity. Check out Video Deathloop on the Greenlit Podcast Network with new episodes every Friday.
All right, and next up we have the news. And absolutely no surprise, I'm really glad it broke the morning of recording, because then we can talk about it. And that is, of course, the new Nintendo Switch OLED model coming out October 8th. It's going to be $350. It has some new upgrades. It has a 7-inch OLED. God, I cannot say that. OLED screen. It's got a new kickstand, which it sounds small, but I'm actually sort of excited about it because the kickstand hella sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real bad. But one thing I'm really looking forward to, is seeing it on, my entertainment center, because I think that dock is just so sexy.
It is pretty sexy.
Is that why we're going to buy it alone? It looks sexy?
Do you know what I tweeted?
What?
My tweet was literally going to upgrade for the dock alone.
Oh, I thought it was because the LAN port, because you play...
also the LAN port.
Okay.
But the dock itself,
it
has like a light on it, right? On the front now.
Okay, but...
Yep.
Okay. Dock sexiness aside, it's $350. That's a pretty big bump. All of us own a Switch already. I think I'm the only one who plays my Switch exclusively in portable mode. who here is actually going to get this? For what reasons?
So my Switch is a launch Switch now. It's starting to breathe some pretty nasty hot air through it, right? It wells up. But so I had one of the OLED Vitas, PlayStation Vitas back in the day, and it is easily one of the best consoles I've ever had. It was absolutely gorgeous. I don't think, there's some problems with like OLED screen burn and stuff like that, but I think Nintendo wouldn't have jumped in unless it was kind of like sorted. Also, even though they're going from 6.2 to 7-inch, you think of holding that Switch, right? And you think about the bevel or whatever it's called, right? It's really big. Like it's black. It's, and if they get rid of that and open that screen, it really could be quite nice.
Yeah, I think it'll look like really slick. I want to see one in person. I don't know if I'm going to upgrade. I have the Animal Crossing Switch. So I already upgraded once to get better battery life.
And the dock is the best part of that, right? So
the dock's real cute. Yeah. Like so I don't know if I want to take another baby step up, but we'll see, because I do play in handheld mode a lot, but it's also another $350, so
$350.
We'll see.
I mean, yeah, so I have a Switch Lite. I play in handheld mode. I would have upgraded if I didn't go to the Lite, but the form factor of the Lite works for me.
See, the Lite, the screen for me on the Lite is not that great and also too small. Like, for me, look, I can barely read this text and it's right in front of me, right?
Right.
So, like, having a bigger screen for me is better. But I also think this is going to be the new Switch. So we had the Pro rumor thing for a long time, right? I actually still think that probably exists, and that this is actually just what the Switch standard will be from now on. Whatever models we have now will phase out of existence, and the only Switches you'll be able to buy is this one and the Lite. So this is like the new Nintendo. That's why they've called it like the Nintendo Switch OLED, right? Because then they'll just get rid of the OLED and it'll just be Nintendo Switch.
It's a brilliant sidestep, because you guys are both talking about purchasing a new one. Whereas if it was a Pro,
immediately.
No, I know, of course, we all would. Yeah. But this can get new customers and old customers.
And then they'll buy the Pro.
And then they'll buy the Pro.
Because I'm stupid.
Because we're stupid, because we're fanboys. But it's a great move financially, and I feel like it's such a small sidestep. $350, good Lord.
Yeah. And I mean, Nintendo has done this kind of thing with most of their systems in a way. At least a lot of the handhelds. Like, how many renditions did the 3DS have?
I owned at least 4 different DSs.
Yeah,
same.
When they added the new on just the front of the name, you're like, all right, gotta have it.
Yeah, the DS was great at it. They were so good at it.
And but they did that great thing back then when they put fancy decals on everything. They don't do that anymore. Yeah. But I have the Majora's Mask new Nintendo 3DS, and it's still one of the best things I have. I love that thing.
So you're both gonna buy it? Is that where we landed?
So I was like, I'm in, right? I tried to go on Amazon and pre-order it yesterday, but I'm almost tempted to do a Kinsey and see it in person first. Double check that screen is what I want, because the screen is what I want.
Sure.
The dock is super cool, but I think I need to see that screen. And if that screen is everything I dream, then I'm in.
They're going to sell the dock separately.
Oh!
Okay, that's good.
Is that bad?
Well, no, it's good, because some
in
people
addition,
just
they're
want
also
the dock.
selling it separately.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
no,
it's
not separate to the Switch.
Right,
No.
I was like, damn, that's tight.
Now that would be rough. That would be taking the piss.
Separately, but it comes together if you buy the Switch. Yeah. It's
so
also, the power cord is separate as well. Everything's individual. Each Joy-Con by itself.
You can just play with the right.
Yeah.
Mario can jump, but he can't walk.
Until payday. The right Joy-Con until payday.
It's a subscription service. You get it piece by piece.
Every week. Yeah. All right, so what else is happening in the news, Kinsey?
All right, next in the news, for some reason, we always talk about theme parks, and I think we should just keep that trend going. Mostly it's selfish because I love theme parks. And this one looks really, really cute. The new Pokemon Wonder Park is basically a nature park. It's located just outside of Tokyo. It's behind the Yomiuri Land, which is Japan's biggest amusement park, or Tokyo's biggest amusement park. And it's just a temporary thing. It's only open from July 17th to April 3rd, 2022.
Oh, shit.
And it's basically like a nature walk. You pay to get in, and then you have 90 minutes to walk around. It's kind of the closest thing we're gonna get to like Pokemon Snap VR. But
I see.
hidden in the woods and in the bushes are Pokemon.
Oh.
And the sculptures are like hella cute, and some of them are really hard to find. Like I saw one that was like, I don't know the new Pokemon. The one that looks like an acorn was just like in a pile of acorns, and he's like this big.
Acorno.
I mean, you wouldn't be far
Acorno.
off. You wouldn't be far off, to be honest. I was thinking of Sudowoodo. I think it's pine something.
Pine.
I like how you looked at me immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you're a dork.
Man who has Raichu tattoo on his leg. Yeah.
The park looked so cute. But then again, there's a time limit, so I mean I get it, because there are people just hang out in there like all day.
Kinsey, assuming you arrive in time, will you be going to this Pokemon Wonder?
This park sounds like it's 100% for the gram.
Yeah, that sounds like a Japanese thing.
Oh yeah.
Everything's with the gram.
And if I'm in Tokyo, I don't think I would go to Tokyo for this.
Yeah.
But if I was there and I had time, yeah, I'd probably go, depending on how much admission is.
A Tokyo excuse is always good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to Tokyo.
Go to Tokyo.
I'm just going to go. I'm going to go Akihabara.
Go for the gram.
Yeah, go for the gram.
Go for the gram.
Go for the gram, baby.
All right, and our last news story.
Oh, shit.
Pretty excited about this one. If you haven't heard, it's been all over the internet. Our very own Giles and Mark Lentz
Current employee.
Current employee. We're on IGN's Dev Reacts to Speedruns with Star Fox. So tell us a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, so that was an absolute blast. You hooked us up with that little thing, because you're friends with Mark Medina over at IGN, and basically we got to watch a speed run of Star Fox, and by a guy named Snake. I don't remember his handle.
Snake Madness.
So, yeah. Snake what?
Snake Madness.
Snake Madness. Yeah.
Oh, I thought his name was Snake Badman. I was
Snake
like, that would be a great name.
Snake Badman.
What a great name.
So what we keep us on track here. Giles had never seen a speed run of Star Fox before, and so he wasn't able to explain any of what was going on. Everything was baffling to him. Like, wait, why is he just off the screen? I don't get what's happening. But that made it a lot more entertaining. And the guys on
I think so too.
The guys on the IGN side were laughing the entire way through, because like Giles was just confused.
Yeah.
And
old man confused.
Yeah, it was definitely old man like shake stick at like
Cloud.
Yeah, Cloud, that thing,
Yeah.
like what the hell is going on? And we actually have another one coming up that will be out this coming Saturday, and we've got another one that we'll be doing.
Nice. And I'm sure it'll be just as hilarious.
Yeah, that one will be great too. Hopefully we can do these again with Mark Medina from IGN, because it was a blast. Highly recommend.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's over on IGN's YouTube channel, and as well as on their website. So definitely check that one out, because it was great.
Sick.
I love how by guilty of association you are now involved somewhat in Star Fox and whatever that
I'll take it.
is. Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah. So, and Mark Lentz of Star Fox fame.
Gotta force myself in.
And next up, we have Call Me Up, where we answer your Discord questions. So if you have a question that you would like us to answer on the podcast, head over to the Chew High Labs Discord, and in the Call Me Up channel. Crap, I did the same thing last time. I didn't say the right word. Is it a channel?
Yes.
Because it's a Discord server, and then the little chat rooms are channels.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like the oldest person.
Push through, Kinsey. Push through.
All right, and the first question is, what's your coolest starstruck meeting a game dev hero moment you've had so far, aside from Giles?
Let's just go ahead and throw this to our guest here.
I mean, there's been plenty, but predominantly indie developers, and then you become friends with them, and then it's just cool. But I think a couple of years ago, during a Bit Summit party, we met Koji Kondo.
All right.
Oh, actually, no. So that was
pretty cool.
really cool. But can I tell you about one quick story?
I mean, yes.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, during not that Bit Summit, but the one before it, I was invited to dinner by a friend. I'm just going to throw out there, Ayakyo Goku, the director of Animal Crossing. It was a lovely friend of mine. I know. So she was like, "Hey, we're having a dinner before Bit Summit, right? Would you want to come along? You know, it'll be like you know, this friend, Josiah, this friend."
Oh, right.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, sounds good." And she was like, "Meet at this address," and it was like this really rambly shack izakaya somewhere off Sanjo, right? And I was like, "Oh, cool." And I arrived early, and the place was closed, and I was like, "Uh-oh," right? And then I'm standing waiting. I'm like messaging her, like, "Have I got the right place?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're running late. Don't worry." And then like, the guy who opens the izakaya comes and he opens it, and he obviously doesn't think I'm going in there because it's like literally I'm talking about like Japanese as it gets. So he's not going to expect foreigners going in there. Then all of a sudden, Aonuma, Eiji Aonuma, director of Zelda, comes around the corner, and I'm like, oh, and he looks at me and he's like, you know, Aya-san, like, you know, you coming in? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then he like walks me into this izakaya. Yeah. And it's like, I'm there with, it's just me and Eiji Aonuma. And he's like, sake, ski desu ka? Like, do you like sake? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And he just starts pouring me sake.
Like, I'll fucking like anything
I'll
you
like
ask
anything
me.
you want, right? So then for about 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I can't remember, I'm just there talking and drinking sake with Eiji Aonuma. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, yeah, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm good, thanks, mate. And then Aya comes, and then Aya is with Hideki Kono, creator of Mario Kart, creator of Yoshi's Island, like all of these wonderful things. You know, the guy who made ice hockey for the NES. And then a couple of our friends, John Ricciardi, Jake Casdell, all those guys turn up as well. And it was an absolute blast. But like, oh man, when Eiji Aonuma came around the corner, I was like, oh, you didn't tell me that these people were the people who coming, right? But I knew he was with us, and I was like, oh, okay, damn. So that was pretty amazing. That was one of the most special nights. But when we met Koji Kondo as well at Bit Summit, that was pretty dope. So that's mine. Sorry. Story aside.
Kinsey.
I was trying to think, because I have met a lot of people at parties and things like that, but I think the funniest story is when I met Bill Gardner, the lead designer on BioShock. And so we were hanging out, and I knew who he was because I love BioShock. And it was funny because he's like really good friends with some of my friends. So like it was like very much like we were just hanging out, and and part of me I was like, oh my god, you know, like and it was funny because I think he knew that I was like trying to control myself and like not be a fangirl, because we were drinking, and then like we were at this like nicer restaurant, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to go to a punk rock diner? And he was like, yes. Like he was like, I don't want to stay here, this is loud and horrible, you know. So we went there, and we kept drinking, and then all of a sudden he looked at me and he was like, just say it, just do it. And then I was like, oh my god, so you made BioShock. And he was like, I knew you wanted to say that this whole time. Like,
that's so cute.
So then he let me like ask questions and things like that, because I try to not be like, you know, let me ask you questions about this like one game you're super known for when I first meet somebody. Like, I'd rather like be normal and like hang out and have fun and get to know them beyond their game.
Where did you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, so
the weapon in the 4th level, you find it in the corner on the right. Why did you decide to do that?
Where'd the name come from?
Is he shocked because he's biological?
Is it biological?
But it was really fun, and he was just as drunk as I was. So I got my 5 minutes of like extreme fangirling, and I don't know, it was really fun, and I think he loved it. So
well done.
All right. That's pretty cool. I have one, and unfortunately I can't say who they are, and there's a reason. So one of my favorite composers of all time, who I've done like a dozen remixes of, I saw them at a party, and I was building up the courage to go talk to them.
Yeah.
And you know, I was having some beers, like, but not too many. I wanted to be with it, and finally, I knew someone that knew this person. said, hey, can you
Ooh.
introduce me, please? And they took me over, and they're like, hey, person's name. This is my friend Mark. He's done a lot of, and he didn't get through that sentence. As soon as that happened, this person went,
Oh no!
and ran out of the party we're at and threw up all over the front door. This person's
Wow.
in their mid-50s.
Wow.
And then the whole party was like laughing, and then they were like, that person does it at all the parties.
That type of person. Nice.
And so I've never spoken to this person directly, and I really hope to. This sounds like I'm putting them on blast.
Don't worry, people will just Google Mark Lentz remixes, man in their 50s.
Yeah, I need to absolutely delete those remixes because it's the only person I've remixed. Whoops.
That's not going to help.
Wait, it's not actually.
It's a good story, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty good story, and I'm sure when I finally get to meet them, it will be great.
And they won't remember you.
Yeah, no, of course not. Absolutely not. Absolutely
And they'll
not.
go into
They're
it
not going
blind,
to.
and they'll be like, oh, man, it's so great to meet you. And you'll be like, actually, I saw you vomit once. And then you'll crush the entire conversation. Good stuff.
It's like an icebreaker. No, don't do that. Don't do that, Mark.
Yeah. No.
It
All right,
is
and
an
the next
icebreaker,
question-
but not a good one.
Yeah, not a good one. Next question. All right, hang on. This is the first part's not a question. I have to rethink about what I'm doing. All right.
What?
Let's get a call me a version of this prompt that's going around Twitter. What are 4 video games you would introduce someone? Wait. 4 video games would you What 4 video games would you introduce someone to explain your taste in gaming?
Rapid fire.
Why was that
This is
so
a
hard?
lightning round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, lightning round.
Okay, at least a Mario game. Probably the latest Smash Brothers. A short hike, and then some other Nintendo game. Probably. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. I'm going lightning round. Super Mario 2, Earthbound, Wolfenstein,
Yeah.
and shit. Yeah, I'm also at a.
See, yeah, it's like you can swinging wildly, like a Mario game, and then a short hike.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
Oh, I
conflicting.
love that game.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Kinsey.
I have to think of all the breadth of all the games I play. Dragon Age Origins, Final Fantasy IX, Night in the Woods, and man, that last one.
That
what
last
is-
one's
I know,
tough.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to put a shitty game in there. Either Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Or Chester Cheetah, Too Cool to Fool.
Oh, that's tight.
Nice.
That's.
I'm so cool. You get the X's and O's.
I
like
honestly
Cheetos
want a
shapes.
Chester Cheetah tattoo. I honestly.
Nice.
Oh,
That's awesome.
So trashy.
Sorry to Giles, but I know what the 4th would be.
Okay.
Snowboard Kids, the N64. Because that's where I started.
I love Snowboard
I
Kids.
like arcadey sports games, right? So I think Snowboard Kids would be a good example.
I told Giles to his face that Snowboard Kids is my favorite snowboarding
It
game.
is. It is. Sorry, Giles.
He's like, "You're
sorry,
fired."
dude. Not that you're listening to this.
Yeah. He doesn't know. He's drunk on an island somewhere.
But Snowboard Kids
It's
is
fine.
the best N64 game.
As soon as I intimidated the fat kid snowboarder, he laughed and I think I smoothed it all.
There you go. Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
and last question. What were your favorite childhood cartoons, movies, or shows? And what were your favorite childhood games?
Shit.
This is probably another lightning round. Favorite childhood show, favorite childhood game.
Show.
So the Cartoon Network era at the time, so you can rattle them off. Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Laboratory, Courage the Cowardly Dog, all of those great cartoons at the time, but easily Ed, Ed and Eddie for me.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Mhm.
And then game is absolutely impossible, but I grew up on the N64, so pick any N64 game pretty much at
Okay.
that time.
Game Mario 2. Anytime Mario 2, I can say Mario 2. I will say Mario 2. It's a fucking perfect game. And kids cartoon show. I'm gonna go with just Tiny Toons. Actually,
Tiny Toons.
Oh,
Great
Tiny
show.
Toons is good.
Great show.
Okay, childhood game. Probably that time. Oh, crap. Either Pokemon. No, I'm going to go Ocarina of Time. because when I first played that game, I fucking loved it.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm here
And-
today. For sure.
Actually, yeah, that got me back into games. That's a whole story. Anyway,
And look what happened
favorite
to you.
childhood show. Oh gosh.
That green screen background.
Oh, Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon. Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was the whole Toonami era as well. That was like the flip
Right.
of it, right? So Cartoon
Mhm.
Network and Toonami were just like legendary.
All right.
I really love Rimen Ut Kaf.
Yeah, we can't read it, so it's probably good. But Kinsey, take us out.
All right. Well, first of all, that's all the time we have. But thank you so much to Liam for coming on and being our guest.
Thank you.
And of course,
Thank you.
welcome to Chew High Labs.
Thank you very
We're
much.
Extremely happy to have you, and I can't wait to get there.
Yes, can't wait
And work
either.
with you.
Yeah, I can't wait
Yeah.
for you to come.
And-
Thank
It's
you.
gonna be so much fun.
And as a reminder, Carve Snowboarding is out right now on Oculus Quest. You can
What?
get it. You can get
Oh
it
my
right
God.
now on
Really?
Oculus Quest. So be sure to go
Right
get that.
now.
Review it with 5 stars
I've
on the
heard
store.
it's better than Snowboard
It's
Kids.
pretty great. Be sure to join us next week in 2 weeks. So we're gonna take everybody out next week in 2 weeks. Doesn't make sense. Don't worry about that. Kinsey, where can people find you?
You can find me on the internet at Kinzilla, Kinszilla, on pretty much every social media.
Great. And Liam, our
Yeah,
guest.
you can find me on Twitter at LiamBME.
And you can find me at The Henry Demos. Kinsey, can you take us out?
And of course, you can follow Chew High Labs at Chew High Labs on also all the social medias.
You can.
And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And thanks again to the Greenlit Podcast Network for being our network. It's awkward.
Nasty